YouTube pipe community. I'm going to do one of my random VRs that I haven't done in a long time. Where, if you haven't ever seen one, basically it was something I was trying to do on Mondays and it just didn't work out. I used to try and do them on Mondays, but they were just, I called them random VRs because I wanted to do VRs to people that didn't have to do with contests for the sake of doing VRs, and I haven't done one in a long time. Caught up watching a squirrel. It's actually pretty warm here today. We're getting up in the 40s. But my VR today is to Bamagtrdude. But first of all, I don't have a pipe getting over a cold, so it's not going to really go well with that. So just pretend that I have a corncob pipe with probably some half and half in it. But anyways, yeah, my VR is to Bamagtrdude, and he had made a video about vinyl and vinyl records and pipe smoking and about that hobby. So I figured I'd just kind of do a little VR to him and to everybody else that actually watches my channel. Collecting vinyl. Now, I've been doing this for, gosh, a long time. It's been a hobby of mine. I couldn't give you exact date how long I've been doing it, but I've been doing it even when I was in high school. I still collected vinyl. I think one of the things that was funny is we were on a field trip down in Madison. And down in Madison, they got State Street, which is just a bunch of shops. I haven't been down there now, so I don't know if these little shops are still open. But I made them. They kind of let us loose for a few hours, so I made my friends duck into a record shop. And at that time, I that's where I found my copy of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and that was I paid like $3 for it. It wasn't. I wouldn't call it a mint condition LP. Very fine, and the record was probably in mint condition. Plays great. Still have it to this day. But I mean, even back then, so even in the 90s, I'm still collecting. I guess if you're gonna get into the hobby, I guess the way I always collected vinyl is I collected more on an opportunity collector. I don't know how you would say that. I would go. Very rarely have I ever searched down an album to buy it, and if I did, it was mostly for a friend that was either collecting vinyl or whatever, just for a present. I can't really think of anything other than that Beatles record, Lonely Hearts Club Band, that LP, that I actually went and bought, but I wasn't really looking for it. Most of my record collection has always come from me just going to secondhand stores, or rummage sales, and just going through and see what they have. I would say almost 99% of my collection is that way, or from ones I had when I was still a kid, or that my parents were getting rid of that I took, or friends' parents were getting rid of, or whatever the deal was. So, and there isn't really any record stores around here. And the couple I have been over the years, since it has picked up on popularity, yeah, you're going to pay some money for them. And which is good and bad, because like he said, though, where he's going, they're cleaning them up and all that. So it's probably worth it, especially if you're looking for a certain album. I will say if you're getting into vinyl collecting and you're going to secondhand stores like either Goodwill, I haven't looked in a while at Goodwill, but they used to have some good ones once in a while. I mean, if you're a Barbra Streisand fan or a Barry Manilow fan, you should have no problem finding LPs. They are everywhere. Another good band, well, I should say another good band, but a band, I'm not going to say they're bad, but a band that if you're into, and you want to collect, the Eagles, there's usually run across a lot of Eagles LPs. Fleetwood Mac, I was running into a lot of Fleetwood Mac albums for a while. Used to be able to get those on the cheap too. A lot of my collection came a while back because I had an apartment for many years that was like a half a block away from a St. Vincent de Paul, and I don't know if that's more of a national chain or just local, where it's kind of a secondhand store. And I'd go down there at least once a week to go check out and see what they had, and I got some good steals from there. I know I picked up like my White Album and Rubber Soul album. I think I paid 25 cents a piece for them. Those days are probably long gone, though, unless you make a score at a rummage sale or somebody wants to get rid of them. If you're getting into the hobby now, you are gonna pay more. My collecting has kind of slowed down over the last few years, just because I got so many when I was doing it, and when I was into it, it was so cheap to do. And now that it's starting to catch on, um, you can see the price going up, and not necessarily even from collectors. You know, you're gonna get the Etsy people, and you're gonna get eBay people or other reseller people that aren't even necessarily doing it for the hobby. They're just doing it because they can make money off of it, because it's something people want now, which is unfortunate. But you know, with that and the rise of the popularity, has how it has been gaining traction, you're starting to see some bands actually press vinyl again. You know, like Dave Matthews, and there's a bunch that are pressing albums in vinyl now, which is really awesome. I know Jack White, he started a vinyl plant, or he bought a vinyl plant over in Detroit, I want to say last year, year before, and they're starting to press vinyls, which is pretty cool. And I'm hoping to someday go there and take a tour of the place. That would be really neat. As far as my collection in vinyl, like I said, it's always been more of an go through them and find something that I like. And sometimes you run into situations where you'll might need to buy a whole box at a rummage sale just because you want one. So, but my taste is very diversified. I think some of that has to do with just you know, I play the drums. I'm a drummer, so I haven't really been doing it in the last few years as much as I used to. More so because if you don't have people to play with or jam or mess around with, you don't have the motivation to keep doing it. You know, it's not that instrument like a guitar where you can just pick it up and go in the other room. You got a whole kit and you're making a lot of noise, so it's not as easy to practice. And the motivation when you're playing with other people, it's more fun. But I think a lot of because of that, if you play an instrument, I think some of your tastes are gonna be more diversified, because you might listen to certain stuff that you like the parts on, or you might find more musically interesting to you. I mean, there's a couple songs I can think of that are interesting that most people wouldn't even think of. One that might come to mind is that one song, Rosanna by Toto. If you can find a really clean version of it, or you have a good CD version where you can turn it up, that little Rosanna shuffle that's in there on the drums, that might be something that would grab my ear that most people would just look over. But anyways, I'm trying to stay on topic on this video, because when it comes to music, I could just rant off and rant on and rant on and rant on, especially when it comes to drummers, and no one wants to hear that, because I go on about that. But anyways, I'm going to share one of the vinyl albums that I actually listen to quite a bit. More so when we have friends over, if I'm just doing stuff around the house, or even sometimes when I'm working on a cob mod or something, and for whatever reason, it just ends up being the album that I like to listen to if I'm not in a particular mood. You know, a lot of when I'm listening to music, it's very emotional driven, how I feel at the time. That's usually how I pick whatever I'm going to listen to. That's how I do it. But if I'm not really sure and I just want to play something, actually this is probably the album that gets thrown on the most. Tommy Dorsey, sorry, choked up. But yeah, that one I listen to probably the most. Just weird. Not that I hate big man music. I actually like some of it, but yeah, that one gets played a lot. And what's weird, in a case in point of vinyl prices, you might run across this in a secondhand store. I think I might have paid maybe a dime for this, a quarter at the most. I went online and looked at for this, to see what it was going for. You're probably not going to get it for under $10. Like I said, this video is probably going to run long. But if you are collecting vinyl and you are getting into it, and you're going to do the search method, you're not necessarily going to go to a record store because you don't have one. So you're just going to, comb all the secondhand stores, estate sales, first you need to go in there, you look for pipes. If they don't have pipes, you go over to the records. That's just kind of how I do it. Like on this sleeve, like the back, got a little schmutz on it and stuff. Don't let a bad sleeve deter you from buying a record or looking at it. If you're collecting for value, for wall pieces, then you don't want that. If you're collecting because you want to listen to them and you want to use them, don't let that deter you. Actually look at the record, because I have quite a few sleeves of really good records that the sleeves look terrible, but I mean, you pull out the record and they are like in mint condition and play lights out amazing. So if you're looking to get some and you actually want to play them, that's what I do. I don't collect for the value of them. I collect them because I like either the music or I actually want to play them. So I mean, sleeve condition, if they look great, I'm happy about that. But if the record will play, I'm even happier. I'd rather have the working LP than a beautiful sleeve and a scratched LP. So I guess that would be some of my advice. I know a lot of the way I got record players is same with secondhand stores or garage sales. I'd snag them up for $5-10. A lot of times needles would go out and it was cheaper just to replace it than to buy a whole new needle if you could get one. Right now I've had the same one for almost 10 years. I got a really good deal on there's a Pioneer stereo setup. You know, obviously it came out of the 80s. You can tell by the little cabinet it's in and stuff. But that thing has just been lights out amazing, and it has showed no signs of stopping. So don't be afraid to pick up a $5-10 record player, like you're talking about the belt-driven ones. I got pretty good at fixing those for a while. Actually, sometimes you can get by that belt if it's not working by using a rubber band. I've used that trick quite a few times to get them to play. But yeah, it's actually a really fun hobby. I enjoy more of the searching for them than finding them. And as far as sound quality, you're going to notice that there is, well, to me, there's certain bands or singers that sound so much incredibly better on vinyl, or certain songs that sound just amazingly better. One artist that comes to mind, just because I'm here, is Frank Sinatra. If you play any Sinatra on vinyl, it is lights out awesome. Whether or not you're into Frank Sinatra, but it is, gosh, it's so good. I'll say any big band music is just so much better on vinyl, in my opinion. A really good 45. Not only is this a band that there's bands that sound better loud, but the song sounds so much better on vinyl, even if you got it on 45 or LP. Riders on the Storm by the Doors. So much better on vinyl. That's just my opinion. But I guess this is my long video. I tried to stay on topic. Hopefully I didn't go too far off about collecting vinyl or the hobby. I mean, I could go on and on about records and bands and all that stuff, but I'm trying to keep it short. But we're getting over 13 minutes. I'm getting close to 13 minutes already. So for me talking about music, this is a relatively short conversation, to be honest with you. So you guys have a good weekend.